Notes and Tones Vinyl Tag 2021. This is a series of questions posed by Andrew from Tales of the Crate, and let's get into it. But first, I'd like to say on this my vinyl tag, I'm not going to include any Blue Note recordings from the Albert Lyon, Francis Wolff era, or any analog production reissues from this year, just because they're well covered in other vinyl tags. So let's get into it. All right, a discovery in 2020. My discovery in 2020 is this recording. The name of the recording is Freya, and it's by a soprano alto player. Her name is Tanique Postma. On Freya. And she had some great musicians playing with her: Ralph Alessi, Chris Davis, Matthew Brewer, and Dan Weiss. And I came, upon her music on a webcast from the Jazz Gallery. Went to her website on Bandcamp and purchased this. I think it's a limited edition run of 500 LPs, and mine, I believe, is number 85. So my discovery of 2020, Tanique Postma, and the album is Freya. And a quarantine buy. Well, my quarantine buy would be this. It is the Tatum Solo Masterpieces. Art Tatum, all solo piano recordings. It is 13 LPs, and it's just phenomenal. And got a lot of time. You can sit down and devote that time to listening to Art Tatum solo on the piano. This is excellent set. He is like the past, present, and future of the jazz piano. And I purchased this through Discogs for $40, and the LPs in this set were never played. So that is my quarantine buy. And the next question is an LP you would want to find in 2020. An LP I would want to find in 2020 would be this one right here. John Coltrane, Johnny Hartman. I know ORG did a reissue of this. When you see them, they're pretty expensive. I mean, I think it's time, if they're able to do a reissue. It's time for this to be reissued. This is a classic, and everyone that's familiar with the Coltrane discography knows this. Coltrane, John Coltrane, and Johnny Hartman. A box set be this one right here. Charles Lloyd, Kindred Spirits. This was done a live concert in celebration of Charles Lloyd's 80th birthday, and it's excellent. Charles Lloyd performing live is just, he's always at the top of his game. Even as he's over 80, he's just still at the top of his game, performing live. This contains LPs, CDs, and a DVD, all the same performance. It also comes with a hardcover photo book and 2 photographs of Charles Lloyd, one signed, the other unsigned. So that is a box set. a concept album. The concept album I chose would be this one here. We Insist, Max Roach, Freedom Now Suite. I know some people might say, oh, it's a protest album. That's more than a protest album. This is, this is done celebrating, not celebrating, but recognizing the emancipation and the civil rights movements in the United States and the civil rights movement in African nations. It's outstanding. You've got Booker Little, Abby Lincoln, Coleman Hawkins, I believe Julian Priester. This is just one of my favorite LPs. Concept album, Max Roach, We Insist, Freedom Now Suite. An album where an artist / band changed directions. I'm gonna go with this one, the Elvis Costello Almost Blue. Elvis Costello, king of the new wave. He goes to Nashville, makes for all intents and purposes, a country album. It's actually one of my favorite Elvis Costello recordings. The songs are just outstanding, and it definitely meets the change of direction. So this is Elvis Costello, Almost Blue. Excellent recording. And the next question is a white label promo. My white label promo would be this one. It's a Stan Getz recording. It's actually a duo recording. It's Stan Getz and Albert Daley, and it's called Poetry. This is just a beautiful record. Getz is just magnificent, and Albert Daley, who when I first picked this up I had not heard of him, and I was just amazed at his playing. There's not that much out there with Albert Daley as a leader. I think there are 2 maybe Columbia albums if you can find them, and a recording on Steeplechase, which is it can be found. So that would be my white label promo. There's the promo information, and let's see the white label, and there it is. So white label promo, Stan Getz, Albert Daley, Poetry. And the next question would be a compilation album. I'm gonna go with something that I received just yesterday, and it's called Come On Up to the House, Women Sing Waits. So it's all female artists sing the songs of Tom Waits, and I listened to this through my streaming service, Quobuzz, and it's so good. The interpretations by all these artists of the Tom Waits songs are outstanding, and that would be my choice as compilation album. An album that tells a story. Actually, I'm gonna come back to that because it sort of relates to the next question. It relates to the next question. And the next question is an album that needs a vinyl pressing. I'm gonna go with this one. This is Bobby Watson and Horizon post Motown bop. It was recorded on Blue Note. This is the Blue Note when Bruce Lundvall was running it. I believe this was done in 1990. It was released in 1990, and it is just outstanding. And you know, a lot of people in the vinyl community may not be familiar with the Blue Note from that period because a lot of the stuff is not on vinyl, which is a shame because there were excellent Blue Note recordings from when Bruce Lundvall was running Blue Note. So now let's go back to the previous question. An album that tells a story. It also relates to this one. When I first picked this up, you know, I really loved the cover art on this. It was outstanding. And in the booklet it said, oh, if you could get a poster of this. But when I picked it up, I never noticed it. You know, I just had a lot of other things going on. I guess I never noticed it. But just 10, 12 years after the album was released, I was playing it and I was like, hey, you know, that's really beautiful artwork. So what did I do? I Googled the artist, he's listed in the liner notes. His name is Michael Singletary, and he had a website. Somehow we got in contact with each other, and he told me, hey, I've got lithographs of that album cover. And you know, I said, oh yeah, I'd like to purchase them, and I'd like to purchase one. And he said, okay, it's $25. You know, $25, yeah. And so he happened to live in New York. He worked at CBS on like West 57th Street. I went up on my lunch hour, went to the security desk because he told me, go to the security desk and tell him you're there to see me. You know, he came down, you know, gave me the lithograph. He was actually extreme. He was more happy than I was. He was thrilled that someone, you know, more than 10 years after the album was released, you know, was interested in his artwork. So that would be my response to an album that tells a story. And here's the lithograph right behind me. If you want to take a look, that's it right there. I am going to get it reframed because the matting is somewhat large, but that's the lithograph, signed by him also. The next question is a common album and a uncommon album. Okay. My common album is going to be Miles Davis' Kind of Blue. You know, it's very common in jazz collections and outside of jazz collections, but I'm going to go with that as my common album. Uncommon album is going to be this, the Paladins. It's on a label called Wrestler Records, and the Paladins, they came to my attention. They are like a roots rockabilly group. Back in '87, I went to see Los Lobos, and they were opening for Los Lobos, and the lead guitarist, this guy Dave Gonzalez, blew me away. And ever since then, you know, I follow the Paladins. I have like every recording of theirs, and you know, I followed Dave Gonzalez. He's been in a number of groups. He was in a group with the late Chris Gaffney called the Hacienda Brothers that released a couple albums that are outstanding. And this, if for those of you that are into movies, the film Ford versus Ferrari, the song from this album, Hold On, is featured in that movie. So an uncommon album would be the Paladins. And an EP. So for an EP, yes, Fishbone. Yeah, yeah. I love the Fishbone stuff on Columbia. It's just outstanding. And so that would be my choice of it, an EP. I had forgotten that I had this until a few years ago when there was a controversy with The Roots on Jimmy Kimmel. Michelle Bachmann, the politician, came on and they did a rendition of Lying Ass Bitch. And I was like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, I have that EP. So that would be my EP, Fishbone. And the next question would be a girl group. Actually, all-female group. I do not have a recording by all-female group. What I do have is this is a recording of a group that led by a female that I'm gonna slip in here instead, and it's by the Canadian cellist Peggy Lee, and it's just outstanding. Echo painting. It's a beautiful photograph, but her compositions are excellent, and so I'm substituting a group that's led by a female instead of an all female group. Peggy Lee, Echo painting. And the next question is an album cover you love. Let's see. An album cover I love would be, and I'm not including any of the classic Blue Note covers, as I said, from the Albert Line Francis Wolf era. So we're gonna go with this one right here, Hampton Hawes. Here it comes. No, this is Hampton Hawes, the trio. Yes, Hampton Hawes, the trio, volume 2. This is Hampton Hawes. It's on Contemporary. And this photo is by the photographer William Claxton. But I mean, it's just, there it is. Just Hampton Hawes. But it says so much. Hampton Hawes did a series of photographs for Contemporary. Most famous probably being the Sonny Rollins Way Out West. He also did, I believe he did the cover for Sonny Rollins and the Contemporary Leaders. But I love this photograph because you just look at those Hampton Hawes' eyes. They're just, they're there. They're just looking at you. So that is an album cover I love, and how stark it is, gray and black. That's it. All right. The next one is the album that you listen to the most. Okay. So I took this question two ways. The most in 2020 and the album, that you listen to the most, so the album I've listened to the most in 2020 was Topology, and this is Makoto Terashita meets Harold Land, and it's on the BBE label. They do some excellent recordings, Japanese musicians, and I started off listening to this because I couldn't get the LP. I had the CD, and then when I finally could get the LP, I purchased it. I'm a big admirer of Harold Land's playing, so I purchased this. This is 2 LPs, 45 RPM. So, and I would highly recommend this recording. And I think it's also available on on all the major streaming services. So that is Topology, Makoto Terashita meets Harold Land. And that's the one I played the most this year. The one album that I've listened to the most would be Saxophone Colossus. I mean, this was probably in the first 10 albums that I had ever purchased. Of course, I purchased it on CD, and then subsequently I got the LP, and I have I believe the Analog Productions LP done by Steve Gray. Gosh, I can't remember his name now. But Steve Hoffman. That's coming in the mail. It's in the mail. I finally I got a copy of that. So I loved this is my favorite Sonny Rollins recording, Saxophone Colossus, an album that I've listened to the most. An album that you had to get an original pressing of. That would be, I'm gonna go with 2 because I sought them out at the same time. Originally I had both of these on CD, but then the artist passed away this last year, and I was like, I need to get an original pressing of both of these. Bill Withers, Adjustments, and Bill Withers, Just As I Am, both on the Sussex label. And yeah, so after Bill Withers passed, I went on Discogs and eBay, and luckily, the prices weren't jacked up at that time, so I got these for a good, really reasonable price. And I had already purchased them on CD, but I just wanted to have an original pressing. So that is the original pressings that I had to have a copy of. Bill Withers, Just As I Am, and Adjustments. One of my favorite songwriters, Bill Withers. And the next question is the last album you purchased. Okay, well, yesterday I got a bunch of stuff in the mail along with that Tom Waits. I got, let's see, I got these 4 albums, so they all qualify as the last album you purchased. Okay, I got a Johnny Hartman. I just dropped by to say hello. This is the ORG version. I got the Childish Gambino. I had this. I had a downloaded version of this, so I had to pick this up, and it's, gosh, I can't even see the line. It's Awaken My Love. So yeah, that came yesterday in the mail. Childish Gambino, Awaken My Love. I picked up this Mary Clayton, Give Me Shelter, and this came. This is a reissue, and sadly the quality is just not good. The repress is it leaves a lot to be desired. And then I got the MoFi Super Vinyl version of one of my favorite recordings, Elvis Costello, Birkback Rack. I missed it when it first came out, and then they were out of stock for a while. And then I was in, I don't know, it was in one of the Facebook groups, and somebody posted that it's back up on the Music Direct website. So I went, I placed an order, and I got it. I already have the SACD version of this, and of course I have the original CD version. But this is one of my favorite recordings. So the Elvis Costello with Burt Bacharach, Painted from Memory. And an album they don't get. That was a tough one for me, but I decided to go with this one. It's a Chick Corea album. It's called Circulus Volume. There's Volume 2 and Volume 1. I only have Volume 2 or an LP. Every time when you talk about artists, jazz artists, the people that don't really listen to jazz, and you just mention Chick Corea, and they'll go, yeah, he's great. I can listen to Chick Corea. You play them this, and they're like, no, that's not what I thought. No, that's not what I think of Chick Corea. As music as. And it's Anthony Braxton, Dave Holland, Barry Altschul. Yeah, I mean, this is not the Chick Corea many people think of when you mention the name Chick Corea. So that's an album they just don't get. And the next question would be a punk album. Really, the only thing or something close to it. The closest that I have would be this Sandinista by The Clash. I picked this up in high school, and the reason I purchased this is because of the song The Magnificent Seven. That song used to be played on the R&B station at WBLS in New York, and they had a legendary DJ, Frankie Crocker, and he would always play them. He would play remixes of it, and I didn't even know the group was until one day he actually said that the title and the name of The Clash, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go pick that up. But I had no knowledge of The Clash before then, so that's my punk album, or the closest thing to it. And the next question is a favorite reissue of 2020. My favorite reissue, and remember, no Blue Note from Alfred Lion, Francis Wolff eras, or the analog production remasters. My favorite reissue from 2020 would be from a recording that was issued, I believe, in 2017 on CD, and it's Live at the Vanguard, Jason Moran and the Bandwagon. And this is on Jason Moran. It was done on CD on Jason Moran's own label, Yes Records. And you can get it on his website, Yes Records, Big Cartel. I'll include a link in the description. This is every year he plays the Village Vanguard around Thanksgiving, and it's a show that I check out usually the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And I'm a big admirer of his music. So he put this out on LP late in the year, and I believe there's only 500 copies of it. Like I said, it's its own label, Yes Records, and it's a great performance, and it's my reissue of the year. Jason Moran, Thanksgiving at the Vanguard. Live at the Village Vanguard, Jason Moran, Thanksgiving at the Vanguard. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Notes and tones, and like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.